Okay, this is question 8 from January 2023, the P3 paper. This question, as you can see by looking at it, is exponentials and logs, and it's the logs and nonlinear data part of the topic. So let's have a look at it. It says dose of antibiotics is given to a patient. The amount is given X milligrams, and then we've got this equation log to the base 10x equals 274 minus 0.079t, and what we've got to do with this is to rearrange it to be in the format x equals pq to the minus t. Okay, so let's get started with this one. So they told me that log base 10 x was equal to 2.74 minus 0.079t. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the idea that if you've got a log statement written like that, you can change this to a power statement. You can go both ways, but in this case, a to the c will equal b. So sometimes questions start with the log statement and go to the power, or we could have had the power statement and ended up trying to get the log. So using this idea, let's get rid of that. That means that 10 to the power of this 2.74 minus 0.079t, put it in brackets there, that's all going to be equal to x. Now once we've got that, we can start using our indices laws to say that that's the same as 10 to the 2.74 multiplied by 10 to the minus 0.079t equals x. And then again, we can say that's 10 to the 2.74 times 10 to the 0.079 all to the minus t there now. So we're just using our laws of indices to be able to work that out. And actually that means we have got it in the format that we want here. We've got x equals pq to the minus t, if that bit's p and that bit's q. So let's just say that. So p is equal to 10 to the 2.74. That works out to be 550. And q is 10 to the 0.079. And that works out to be 1.2. So part A, a lot easier than it looked. Part B, what does it say? It says, with reference to the equation, and going back, do just check things like significant figures and decimal places on any of these style questions, but these ones are two significant figures. Part B says, with reference to the equation, interpret the value of the constant. So part B, they're asking me what P actually amounts to. Well, if P, or rather if the formula is x equals pq to the minus t, this is one of those that you're going to get by actually doing more and more questions like this. If I'm trying to work out what P is, a really good starting point on lots of these questions is what's happening when t equals 0. Well, if t equals 0, I get x equals pq to the 0. So in other words, I get x equals p. So that's telling me P is the amount. So P is the amount when t equals 0. So it's the amount at the start when t equals 0. Okay, so that's part B. A little bit of a clue there was the fact it was only worth 1 mark when we were doing that. And then the last part says, got a different equation now, different doses given, x is equal to 400 times 1.4 to the minus t, and they're saying use calculus, so in other words differentiate to find dx by dt. And again, to two significant figures when we get that far down. But let's just do this first of all. Just like previously, a quick bit of teaching before we do this. If I get y equals a to the power of x, we need to know that the differential of that then is log a to the power of x. One of the pieces of information, one of the differentials that comes up quite a lot on the actual past papers. So hopefully your teacher will have said that to you when he or she was going through and teaching it with you. Yeah, they use that a lot. Let's actually park that then and look at the question. So the question said x equals 400, 1.4 to the minus t. So if I want dx by dt, number of times I say this, I'm not bothered about that 400, I'll just put it in at the end. 400 is just a constant, so that's nothing to do with it, but it's this bit that I am differentiating, and okay, it's x and t's rather than y's and x's, but it's still it's still a to the power of x, it's still a constant to the power of something. So we do the differential of this is log 1.4 to the minus t, and obviously the minus means that that's got to be in there as well when we're doing this. So that is my dx by dt. They want it at t equals 5, so dx by dt is going to be sticking that in. So minus 400 log 1.4 to the minus 5, then just chuck everything into the calculator. That works out to be equal to minus 25 if we're doing it, as I said in the question, to two significant figures. Okay, hopefully that makes sense for that question.